Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GRIDwrap. And today our subject is about public relations, and it's a very appropriate day today to talk about public relations, particularly on the net, as a little bird tweeted today that Microsoft were going to be taking over Linden Labs, or at least have made an offer. So, coincidentally, we're talking about PR. And I had invited the wonderful Annette Wilder of Wilder Public Relations, CEO, to come along. Hello, Annette. How are you?
Hi, Dousa. How are you? Glad to be here.
It's very good to have you here. And, of course, we have our regular guest, Tessa Harrington of Spot on 3D.
Hello, everyone.
She sounds a lot calmer than she's been earlier, because she actually, I'm going to tell you this as the audience, right? It'll tell you what kind of lag is going on in Second Life today, and she couldn't get her eyebrows on. So she had to nip back to Spot on 3D to put on her eyebrows and then come into Second Life. How's that for a...
No, I actually had to change clients.
Oh, right, okay.
Client 2.0 doesn't make it real obvious or easy to get to your eyebrows. And I looked like I was very, very angry. And I'm not a very angry person. I'm a very nice person. I like to be happy. Okay, that's my rant for the day.
Well, she was happy until she couldn't find her eyebrows. Let's put it that way.
I was happy to talk about it.
So, Annette, what possessed you to start a public relations company in Second Life? And have you taken it out of Second Life?
Well, let's see. Almost 3 years ago, I was finishing college, and I'm a communications major, which I have a bachelor's of science in communication with. My teacher made us come into Second Life for a class project. He was like, okay, sometimes I'm not going to want to be there, and we're going to meet on an island. And I'm like, oh, my God, I don't have time to play a game. I'm taking 6 classes. I have a real-life job. You know, I was like, who has time to play a video game? You know, that was my first. So when I got on here, you know, I really fell in love with it. I thought it was pretty amazing. And then I graduated college, and then I met Rush Raymaker. She's the CEO of Avenue Models, and at the time we were best friends, and she was like, you know, I want to open a modeling agency. Come help me. So I was like, okay. So it was me, her, and this other girl named Andy. We started that, and then after I separated from that, I decided they had too many people coming to me for PR, even though I love Avenue. So I was like, okay, I'll start my own company, and that's what I did. So.
And how has it been? Has it been? I mean, have you found your fortunes going up and down with the up and downs of Second Life?
Yes. I must say, for the first 2 years, it was amazing. You know, I mean, it was nonstop. You know, well, it was kind of to the point where I thought, well, is this it? Is this what I'm going to do, you know, maybe for the rest of my life, you know, turn something over into virtual worlds? Because, I mean, it was so busy, but then it was also taking a lot away from my real life. So, you know, for the first 2 years, we stayed nonstop. We couldn't get, you know, there was no breaks. And now this last, I would say last 6 or 7 months with the economy, it's been very slow. So all that time that I thought, oh, I'd love to take a break, well, I ended up actually taking a break and going, my girlfriend that I met in Second Life, I ended up visiting her in Switzerland. So it was good. The break was good. But now I'm back, and things are picking up slowly, but it's slower than what I'm used to. So the economy actually does affect Second Life, that's for sure.
Okay, well, it was rumored today that Second Life was, well, Linden Labs had an offer made to them for purchase by Microsoft. And that brings me to getting the word out on the net. And Tessa, you've got a new grid, right? How do you get your word out on the net?
I tell you, it's hard. It's really hard. We do the whole tweet and social media, Facebook events with you, of course, and GRIDwrap helps as well, gives us a lot of exposure. But it's really hard because, you know, okay, I'll admit it, I'm not a forum rat. So I got on there, and they had this little section that said virtual worlds. So I just said, okay, great, I can talk about my virtual world. And I you know, I used your typical caps and exclamations, and I got flamed unmercifully for doing spam. And, yeah, I ended up having to apologize, which they did not accept, and tried to have somebody else rewrite it like a review in a more casual tone. That didn't work either. So I've just kind of given up on the forums because, I don't know, they just seem like, I just can't seem to get through there, and there's really no way to really effectively advertise through forums unless you sit there and pretend you're not advertising. And I'm really a straight shooter. I'm just not going to sit there and say, well, I'm going to tell you about something, but I'm not going to really tell you that I'm advertising. I'm going to try to, I just don't do that. If I've got something to say, I just want to say it. And, if you like it, great, come talk with me. I'll give you more information. But if you don't, let me move on so I don't waste your time or mine. That's kind of the person I am. And I don't think that really fits in the forum format, unfortunately. So we try to stick to more of the blogs and stuff. And occasionally we'll get mentioned by somebody who's visited our grid, or one of our residents will feel compelled because they'll hear people talking about the other grids out there. And that helps. We get a lot of traffic actually from that more than anything else.
I mean, what do you think, Annette? I mean, I was watching that Twitter feed today, and it seemed to go viral within about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I really feel like Twitter is one of the top ways. But for us, since most of our things, affect people getting down to, like, let's say an event for a client, we use things such as Plurk. We really feel social networking sites help a lot. So we use Plurk, we use Second Night, Multo. There is also associations of virtual worlds. We use, let's see, we have quite a few. This section. There's an SL Pulse. And I even, there's been times when we had clients that were real-life companies that did events, like our client that did a real-life job fair. And so I've learned to look around for places that you could post press releases, be there, whether they're in a real life surrounding or in a virtual surrounding, they've allowed me to post. So that people who said, I saw this, had no idea what it was, and I joined Second Life just to see. So, so I know it works, and I know it grabs people's attentions. And we also have bloggers and a list of SL Media. We also have groups that we have permission to spam in. So, I mean, we do everything, from the spamming to the social networking sites. And so far, so good. It's worked very well for almost 3 years for our clients.
I think that we certainly had some success out of it, although I think probably the thing we get best results from are a public Facebook event, or even the Second Life events, which I found rather unusual. But I do know that if we don't cover those two areas, it drops slightly.
Know what works for you. I feel a lot of times, we get complacent. We post and, we have to go back and check and make sure that we have to be working for our clients. Sometimes we even stay at the event and say, hey, where did you hear about this from? I tell you, if you're doing anything, I don't care if it, there was a time when it was supposed to be all fashion, but pretty much anything that goes on iHeart's SL, it's going to be noticed. That site alone, I mean, with all the hits that it has and all the people that are, part of that site, you really get a good turnout by being part of that. So, shout out to iHeart SL. It's a really good site. If you've never that, and if you have a blog, they'll pick up everything you post on your blog, and they'll get it out there for you.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, when you first started Second Life, did you need all those areas, Annette, to get people in and interested?
Well, when we first, I think we did more of the in-world, spamming, becoming friends with certain medias, and, doing a lot of, whether it be but as SL has started to grow and more people are into, there are so many people who can tell you, I don't know anything about these stores in SL, or I don't know anything about these events until I checked something out that was on Facebook. So I think in the beginning we did more things because we figured they're in-world, so in-world is where we need to reach them. But over just as well, with things that are out of world, such as Plurk and Facebook, because just as many people are on here, you know, when you're at work and you can't use social networking sites. So, you know, that way they're able to say, hey, you know, when I get home, I'm going to check that out. So I think over time it has moved from doing everything in here to get your word out.
To out there, yeah.
Yeah. Are you saying flirt?
Plurk.
IRT?
Oh,
Plurk. P-L-U-R-K.
Yes.
P-L-U-R-K. I've never heard of it. See, I'm trying to grab all these little nuggets, and you're going too fast, and you're figuring them out.
Well, Tessa, you're just talking about them, not taking notes, darling. You could always play back the edit, and then could always watch this program on Metaverse television.
That's true.
Take the notes down.
And I have to say it fast because, you know, that's why they come to us, because of all the places we reach. I sit here and give you guys.
Yeah, they won't be coming to her. Absolutely right. She needs to break up every now and again to keep us in mystery.
I'm too much
sorry
to
if I'm breaking
I
up.
shout out anywhere and they just...
No, it's a unidirectional mic, so every time you take a breath, I think it cuts out is what happens, actually, Annette, so by the sound of it, but don't worry too much about it, we're fine. And also, of course, you know, I made the call on Skype, so I suspect that actually, you know, it's quite a slow connection from the UK, as Mal Burns and I are campaigning for better speeds and more constant... All right, and also I'm getting the voice of God here, which says my mouth isn't moving. You see, every so often I get a voice in my ear from a man saying your mouth isn't moving. I'm not quite sure how to take that, but you think it would be a relief. Anyway, so listen, outside in the big wide world of the net, we've talked about sort of social media but I was astonished at how fast that Microsoft thing went round for Second Life today, that Microsoft rumor, which still hasn't been substantiated. And is it that certain places just are pouncing? I mean, is anybody who isn't in Second Life actually going to be interested in that rumor?
Well, there are people that have stock, or, you know, there are some people that follow everything that Microsoft does. And so actually this could help, you know, I mean, because I don't know what all will change for those of us that are already part of Second Life. But for the people who, you know, have never heard of it, never tried it, some people love everything that Microsoft does. And, you know, let me check that out. You know, so I think from that point of view, but as far as for us that are here, you know, we just want to know what's going to happen next because, you know, I mean, we're something that we're already a part of. But I do think it helps Microsoft as far as it piques interest of those who are interested in everything that they're doing.
So, Tessa, when you set up Spot on 3D, how much attention did you pay to getting the word out? I mean, what, you know, was it a large part of your budget, for example?
Of course, not as big as the development. That's yeah. The usual budget is 10 to 20%, even 30 if you have a healthy, you know, viable company that you have the money to throw at it. Of course, we don't have that much money, so you do with what you have. And thank goodness to social media. It gives you a lot of abilities to reach out to a large audience for almost free. But I have to hire somebody to do it because I can't do it all. So it's not completely free for me. And of course, then we sponsor shows like this and we run ads. So, you know, there is definitely a cost and there's definitely a budget for it that we set aside. Do we get the kind of response we really would like? Of course not. You know, it seems like marketing always falls short. You know, the biggest marketing tool for you is word of mouth, quite honestly. It's people going and saying, wow, Spot On is lagless, you know, and boy, things just run smooth. Those are the type comments that get us more and more visitors because we all know lag is the bane of our existence in virtual, you know, from my experience this afternoon trying to dress.
So how do you get something viral? I mean, does it have to be shocking or dramatic or a child or a woman in a bikini holding a kitten? I mean, can you know...
The set that way seems like the more dramatic it is, the quicker people...